Nir, muchas gracias por estar otra vez en México. Comenzaría preguntándote por qué tu interés en estos personajes siempre en ese cruce, en ese choque de consignas éticas o morales. Tanto los personajes de las buenas personas como los de la sombra del mundo parecen todos tener buenas intenciones, pero al final terminan casi siempre colaborando con las peores.
I think that first of all, I'm very happy to be here, and thank you, Mr. Wolfson, for coming, for all of you. And what was interesting for me, these novels weren't specifically a question about good or bad, or a question about the Nazi apparatus or the Second World War. It was more like about the encounter of the individual and the different forces in different historical times. I really felt that this encounter in literature is always interesting and necessary, and some kind of Hebrew literature of our time doesn't really deal with it. And I mean that the person goes out to the world in both novels, and he believes in certain values and certain ethic ideals, and then he goes out to the world and he wants to achieve something, to advance his career, to get social mobility, to do something good or important in the world, and then he encounters all these different forces in the world, and something happened to him, to his ethic. Anyway, so this was the main premise of the book, and I think that for in every specific time in history, or in the current time, there are specific terms that literature always tries to decipher. Like, for example, try to understand a certain point of time, and the Russian writer, I like it, and this is what was interesting for me, because I think that it's very hard to think about individual without certain beliefs. It's very hard for the individual to always defend his beliefs when he's best inside the world and all the different forces. And I think this is the thing that I found interesting in this novel.
El libro, este primer libro de Nir Baram, traducido al español, Las Buenas Personas, se tradujo a muchas más lenguas con enorme éxito, y quería preguntarte precisamente cómo fue la recepción, particularmente tanto en Israel como en Alemania, frente a esto que parecía una novedad, un autor israelí tocase de nuevo estos temas.
Yeah, thank you. I think that basically one of the problems when you talk about the Second World War in literature is that there are boxes for understanding everything. Like the banality of evil, this idea is like a box. You talk about the Nazis or whatever, we say, okay, the banality of evil, like the bureaucratic explanation of the Nazi actions. Or on the other side, the monstrous explanation. Everywhere was monstrous or washed away by propaganda. And I think that what basically good people did is like normalize the characters. The protagonist of good people from the German side, he's like a German-American entrepreneur that works with the American company, and then at some point he gives his talent to the Nazi apparatus. He writes like bureaucratic models. He's some kind of a writer, and the books like try to understand his path inside the Nazi bureaucratic regime. When he's not really a Nazi, he's dealing with the Nazis, which is very interesting, I think, for the Nazi apparatus and the Soviet apparatus. It's like it gave regular people the opportunity to excel and advance. Unlike the previous regime in Germany and Russia, it was very hierarchical. But in order to advance, you have to give your talents to the regime and your loyalty. And I think that what he tried to write with this character in the middle, that they are not bureaucratic. The character, Thomas Eisenberg, is very smart, very ambitious, very sophisticated, really know how to understand human beings and their interests. But it shows that in the end of the line, he's responsible for a lot of atrocities. And I think the problem for understanding the novel, for many people who read the novel, I'm not complaining about it, because in Israel it was a huge bestseller in the end, but the problem was that people didn't know what to think of it. Is it monster? Is it good? Is it bad? What does it want? I think this is where literature becomes interesting, exactly at this point.
Me parece que justo hablando de este personaje, encontré, o se puede encontrar, uno creo de tus temas principales que reaparece en tu siguiente novela y también en tus posiciones, por ejemplo, frente al proceso de paz entre Israel y Palestina. La idea que ya está presente en Las buenas personas y que es todavía mucho más clara en La sombra del mundo, de que independientemente de los ideales personales, de los valores personales, es lo que todavía no existía como neoliberalismo en tu primera novela, que ya lo es en la segunda, parece marcar la ética general del sistema. Es decir, la idea de que es mucho más importante avanzar económicamente, tener posiciones que te permitan ir creciendo en una lógica meramente individual, y que eso casi siempre termina por superar cualquier valor humano que pareciera más importante.
Well, I think that in La sombra del mundo, what was interesting for me is that, you know, if you take the Second World War for a writer, it's a very interesting period to write about, because literature was very important, even for those regimes that tried to use literature, but also the political spectrum was very obvious. And also there was a connection in this time between your political belief and between what you do in your life. For example, my grandfather, he was like a worker leader, so he couldn't work for IBM at the same time. But in my generation, I think what was very interesting, and this was the changes that sombra del mundo tried to decipher for the different characters and different plots, is there is no connection between your political beliefs and what you do. There is like, for most of the people. And I think that this is very interesting to see that people in the sombra del mundo, so they talk about politics and about beliefs and about what they want to do, but only a very small group of people are really committed. And I think that I really noticed that because of the new world, and because now nobody expects you that anything you say politically has any relevance on the way you live. Like there was this expectation like in 50, 60 years ago in Israel. And this is what I try to really understand in the sombra del mundo. What does it do to your even existential life as an individual? What does it mean when you can say anything and it doesn't really matter in connection to what you do? And I really notice it because many people in Israel in my generation, so they work in all these corporations or for Channel 2. And then in the evening they go on Facebook and they write, you know, they quote Marx and whatever. And I found it very interesting, not from the judgmental point of view, but to really try to understand what is the deep, the way that these people are working with politics. I found it very interesting, especially in Israel. So this is why it's so different than good people in the term of this notion of a new political creature. And I don't think that we ever saw someone like this in the history of the 20th century, or even since modernity, this kind of political creature.
Yo creo que uno de los puntos precisamente más interesantes de los libros de trabajo de Nir Baram tiene que ver con esta sensación a la que él mismo se refiere hace poco respecto a la reacción del público o la prensa israelí frente a su primera novela. Pero eso creo que pasa en cualquier lector, también a los lectores mexicanos. Es difícil saber y tener un juicio claro sobre los personajes, y vuelve a ocurrir de nuevo en La sombra del mundo. No sabemos si este grupo de anarquistas que están absolutamente en contra del sistema, que además parece que tienen razón, pero si lo que hacen es absolutamente demencial y casi reverso a lo que están planteando o si sus ideales se mantienen crísticos. Lo mismo con casi cada uno de los personajes que tú vas contando. Y creo que esto también se refleja en esa reacción frente a tu visión sobre la política, el que tanto la izquierda, a la que digamos hasta familiarmente perteneces, como la derecha y la ultraderecha se sienten sumamente incómodos con tus posiciones. Creo que hay ahí una especie de conexión en tu caso entre la literatura y la acción política.
Well, when I write characters, the only important thing for me is the emotional connection between me and the characters. Now, in both books, there are a lot of characters, right? Like 50, 80, but the important one are like 20. And I think that for me, the important feeling is not to understand the characters politically, but to understand it emotionally. It's like, I think that what's interesting for a writer, if he's good in writing characters, is that he has to put on his face the mask of the character and see the world through its eyes and believe in the mask in a way. And not to write it like writers that I don't like to read it when they write characters, but you see that it's there. It's not the character. They write themselves in different reflections. Now I think that this is something that is not teachable. It's either you have it since you are like very young or you don't. I mean, for example, I never really hated my enemies as a child because in a way I understood them. I understood that also my enemies have decent arguments why they hate me. And when I try to explain to other people, usually they don't get it. You hate your enemies, you don't understand why they hate you. And I think that this is something that I always, before I even started to write, I was always interested in the way that other people perceive the world. Not because they were so good, because I wanted to love them necessarily, because it's interesting for me. And I think that writing characters is something that I always like to do, especially if they are far away from me. They could live in Germany in the 30s or the anarchists. It's not about research. It's a way to emotionally try to understand what is the psychological makeup of the character. And then all the politics, what they believe or not, coming later, because the first question is, do you understand? I think this is why I like to write literature. This is part of the reason I really like literature, is to do it. Because it's like liberates you, because you always give every character something from your soul, every character, even something small. And then let it fly. But there has to be some connection to you and the character which is emotional.
Yo creo, y les recomiendo mucho la lectura de estos dos libros traducidos al español, porque precisamente creo que eso funciona perfectamente. Los personajes tienen esta hondura humana precisamente por esa conexión emocional a la que se refiere Nir. Pero al mismo tiempo, sin duda, se trata también de libros profundamente políticos en el sentido más amplio del término, de la relación de los individuos con la polis, con la ciudad, con el sistema al que están siendo sujetos. ¿Crees que escribir libros como estos tienen o todavía pueden tener también una acción política entre los lectores? ¿O es la acción política única de una novela a lo que te referías antes, que es otro de los temas que a mí más me interesan? Simplemente la empatía que se despierta al saber cómo piensan los otros, incluso tus enemigos.
I never considered, for example, las buenas personas as a political novel. I know it can be interpreted because of the subject, but I thought that it's like a journey of two characters inside the Nazi and Stalinist bureaucratic, and I think the interesting journey in what they do and the occupation. So I never thought about it, what I want to say about the Second. The only thing I wanted to say about the Second World War, that I hated all these novels that always describe the Nazis or the Stalinists like idiots or bureaucratic machines or evil. I thought they don't understand basic things about human nature. Which this is what writers should do. If you don't have it, you should not write fiction. You can write non-fiction. But I think that what's interesting, that even if you write about political circumstances, you must be devoid of any political goals the writer. You must think of it like in a way like a game of different political opinions, different political appeals. A game that you don't have an opinion about the lesson of it. This is why בסוף mundo, anarchists like it, capitalists like it, socialists like it, and all the other people, and also socialists hate it, anarchists hate it, capitalists hate it, because you cannot know exactly so what the novel says. I don't understand. Should they do it? And I think that this is the interesting point. You must write it from your point of view as an investigation, that you don't know the answer. By the way, when I read your novel, how to say it? Yes. The interesting thing was that the detective doesn't know anything, really. It's like a quest. And I think that if you start to write a novel with some answers, it's not really interesting. So for me, it's like writing about questions that I care about when I don't know the answers. I just know how to play the game of the plots, and then the reader can think about it. I think that always an open book is interesting. It's like you should try to open the landscapes of possibilities for the reader. To make him think about things he never thought about. But you should never try to have any political goal about what he thinks in the end. So this is why some political people that know my political stance hated my books, because they thought it's not contribute anything to their political goals. And I always remember that there was a writer that I really like. His name is Vernon Shalom. He's a Russian writer. I think he's the best Russian writer in the 20th century. He used to write about the gulags.
Cuentos del Colimá se llama. Existe traducción al español.
Now, Primo Levi read his book, and he wrote about Shalamov. I don't understand why to read Shalamov. His literature leads to nowhere. You read it, and you don't understand anything. You don't understand why should they live? What is moral? Why to write stories about the gulags? This is exactly what's interesting in Shalamov. That you read about the gulag, and there's no lesson. You don't understand what does it mean to be human being in the gulag. There's no good, there's no bad. There's just the gulag. People try to survive it. And I think that this is what interesting for me. I like the Shalamov angle. He doesn't want to tell you in the gulag or in the concentration camp, we are all human beings in the end, no, he doesn't, because maybe we're not, according to him. I think that this is something that I always find fascinating in literature.
En La sombra del mundo, aún así, justo con lo que estás diciendo, no deja de ser un retrato de la ideología de nuestra época, de la manera como es una especie de retrato moral de una generación también que en alguna medida es la nuestra. Y por eso tanta incertidumbre en saber quiénes están bien, quiénes están mal, quiénes están defendiendo valores que todavía son posibles o quiénes están simplemente aprovechándose de la situación. Creo que la novela, ese es, digamos, como tú lo decías, el simplemente retratarlo. No es que vaya una novela, por supuesto, a ofrecer soluciones respecto a ese dilema moral en el que nos encontramos.
By the way, I have a good story on it. There was a review in El País about la sombra del mundo, and the review was they really like it from the liberal, leftist political stance, but also about the literature of it. And then I did the day after an interview with El Mundo, and the guy was very conservative. So he told me, I loved the novel because you showed all these deep leftists and anarchists and idiots in the end. And I thought this was the best reading that I could get. And two people read it and they saw something in them. And if you ask me who's right, there's no solution to it. And I think that La sombra del mundo is in a way, it's a book that when people read it, they read this adventure. I think it's I saw it like an adventure book, because I always like adventure book. And also, I think there's one personas. People go out to the world, they want to do something, there is all these adventures, and I think that when you write an adventure, the most important thing for you is that you don't know what will happen in the next angle, the next twist. And for me, this is like the game of the writer. All the rest, it's like coming from, I was born and raised in a political family. So political question was always important for me. So regardless if I want it or not, it will be part of it.
Bueno, ya que lo tocas, vayamos un poco a ese punto. Tú eres hijo de un importante político israelí, laborista, y esto lo cuentas también de manera bastante clara en tu reciente documental La Tierra sin Fronteras. Muy interesante porque empieza el documental de Nir precisamente en las salas en Oslo donde se firmaron los acuerdos de paz. Ahí cuentas cómo esa es tu formación política y en algún sentido familiar y sentimental, cómo creíste a ciegas durante mucho tiempo en esa, pues, la solución clara de la izquierda israelí, la idea de los dos estados, y luego cómo te empiezas a replantear qué significa eso en nuestro tiempo y necesitas verlo por ti mismo. Necesita, entonces, y eso es lo que hace en el documental retrata su viaje por Palestina, hablando tanto con palestinos como con judíos, para realmente escucharlo de viva voz y no lo que ha sido, o dices que había sido simplemente una idea más que una experiencia.
Yeah. First of all, I don't know if I should talk to you about it because tomorrow I have a session about it. So if I talk about it now, nobody will come tomorrow. But first of all, I have to say the documentary, I started to do a series of articles in Haaretz. Do you read Haaretz? Yeah. Sure. Okay. So it was like a series of articles because I really felt that I cannot talk about the conflict anymore until I will go to the West Bank and the East Jerusalem and see what's going on. Because I really don't know. I wasn't there since I was like 22. And I really felt I cannot talk about the occupation in two states until I will see it. So I started to go there and I wrote a series of articles for Haaretz. And then there was a book that was published in Israel and also in English and in Netherlands and in other countries that called The Land Without Borders. And then I decided to do the documentary. Don't ask me why. I thought it would be an interesting experience to try to move the story of a book to a documentary film, and also more people will watch it. And what was interesting for me was that I really went there to listen to people and not to argue with them about my opinions, because it's not really interesting. I wanted to listen to them and then to challenge their points of view, and you really see in the book how you start to talk with someone and he has an idea, and at the end of the conversation you see that he himself doesn't know what he's talking about. Palestinians and Jews. But what I did learn is that most of the things that we in Israel think that the Palestinians think are not true, and we don't know Palestinians really, and we never really listen to them. In the documentary I talked to my father in the end. He was a minister in the rabbinic government. You can see that my father, when I told you about literature, like, regardless of your political opinion, if you're a human being that lives and you're in Israel, you must try to understand intellectually, to see the last 100 years from the Palestinian point of view. Even if you're, by the way, some of the right wing in Israel do it more than the left. And these people never did it. So they came with conclusions about the Palestinians that I found when I talked to them, and I talked to hundreds of them. And they don't understand the narrative, the Palestinian narrative, really. And when I talk to settlers, it was also the same. That you see that the settlers have a lot of different opinions, a lot of different ideals. Not one settler I talk to really talk about democracy. The problem with the settlers, and this is shown in the book, that they don't want democracy. And they can say hundreds of different things, let's do Jordan, all these ideas. But when you strip all this to the essence of it, they don't believe in democracy and equal rights for the Palestinians. And in a way, because the book respected the settlers and listened to them and didn't argue with them. It was more obvious that after everything they talk about God, the promised land, and Hebron, which is true, but at the end of the line, it's very simple. And I think that most of the people that watched the book, read the book, watched the movie, became more desperate. Nobody was optimistic about the situation.
Sí, al terminarlo de ver, a mí me pasaba lo mismo, la sensación es enorme amargura. Tú les preguntabas a uno y otro, sobre todo a quienes tienen posiciones más extremas, pero ¿cuál le parece realmente una solución realista? ¿Y qué puede ser realmente algo que usted pueda ceder? Y las respuestas eran casi mías.
Yes, I think that for me the journey wasn't about solutions. All this conversation about solutions, I think, is totally idiotic. Because the level of distrust between Palestinians and Jews and Israelis are such that we need like a process of reconciliation. And in Israel, every other guy you meet, he tells you, I have a peace plan. So I tell him, who cares about your peace plan? Nobody knows who you are, nobody cares about your peace plan. You want to do something useful, start to work with Palestinians about reconciliation, because we have a lot of solutions. It could be one state, two state, whatever, but there will be no solution until there will be trust and conversation and reconciliation between the two sides, and also mutual recognition in the narrative. We need to recognize the Palestinian Nakba, the deportation of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in 48, and the loss of homes, communities, hundreds of villages and property. And they need to recognize the fact that the Jews are part of this land, which, by the way, a lot of Palestinians don't. A lot of Jews don't. And what I saw in the documentary in the book, that the main problem is that you have this land, and in the essence of things, a lot of Jews, a lot of Palestinians think that the land is theirs, and the other side is not part of it. Doesn't have real claim and connection to it. And this is, you cannot solve the conflict with all these two states when this is the narrative. And I think that if you can create this reconciliation process when we understand in the beginning that both of the nations have to be here with equal rights, then we can think about solutions. But we are totally not there.